what's good, bro? How are you?
Good, bro. Yourself?
Good. I'm always on this side. We got to switch this back. Hold up. Hey, if you guys seen the intro and you seen our faces up at the start, we totally butchered it, and that was all 100% River's fault. But anyways, man, welcome to the Foxing Around podcast. I'm your host, Raymond Fox.
And I'm your co-host, River Thomas.
Hey, we got another huge episode here this evening. We got none other than Mr. Dallas Soonias waiting in the wings. He'll be joining us in a few short minutes. What's been good, bro? What you been up to this week?
Homework, bro. Trying to catch up. We got about a month and a half left of school. I'm behind. I got to get cracking. Yeah, how about you?
Hey, bro, I'm chilling. Thankfully, I don't have that problem because I done took a semester off.
Nice.
But yeah,
Smart.
bro, I just been chilling, playing video games mostly. I've been playing a lot of FIFA the last couple of days, chilling out with the Seven Stars crew a lot. Yeah, just connecting with different people during the day. Man, it was dope. On Friday, I got to go into a classroom with my mom's class. Actually, there were a few different classrooms. Some doing AB10, AB12, hairstylist. There was everybody in there. It was live. So got to go speak with them and share a little bit about my story. It was good, bro. What else you got going on this week besides homework?
Besides homework, bro, my sister's having a baby. Cannot wait to find out this evening if I'm gonna be an auntie or an uncle. Yeah, bro. Other than that, man, I'm so excited. My family's in Calgary right now, so I spent the evening with them yesterday. Funny story. My sister was like, "Hey, my water broke." She's like, "Drive me to the hospital." And I was like, "You got gas money?" No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so took my sister to the hospital, and they didn't. I guess she wasn't quite ready or whatever. So we should be expecting a baby niece here. Denise should be born this evening, bro. Cannot wait for that.
Hey, that's huge, brother.
She was like trying to get names off me, and I was like, just name it Karen. I don't know. But yeah, bro. We'll see. Other than that, bro, same thing. I play a whole lot of video games, bro, and that's where a lot of my time's going, man. And it's so hard to like put a time restraint on yourself when you're playing Xbox. You just get so lost in it, and then like end of the night, you're like, oh, I still have to do an assignment, right? So then you stay up extra late and you finish an assignment. But yeah, other than that, people are asking about the hoodies. These are actually gifts, right?
Yeah. These were the gifts, the one-on-ones. We could probably order some of these as soon as you guys sell us out of our gray and black hoodies. So right now we got gray hoodies. We got the black hoodies, we got the champion hats, as well as we got the champion joggers, the sweatpants. So hit us up for that, man. We don't really ask for donations. We don't do the stars thing. The only thing that we do ask from you guys, man, if you guys can and are able to purchase a sweater, that's how you help us, man. And that's where we get the money to do what we do. Yeah, to eat. Literally, y'all feeding us. That goes straight to my Skip the Dishes account. No, just kidding. It goes into the podcast. But anyways, man, without further ado, let's get right into it. Mr. Dallas Soonias, he's a former Team Canada. I believe he might be the first Indigenous athlete from Canada to ever play on the Canadian national team. We're going to have to ask him that, but he's traveled the world playing the sport he loves. Nowadays, he's a coach of the State men's volleyball team as well, too. I'm pretty sure he's a papa now, man. So I wonder if he's got that dad bod. Let's bring him in here, ladies and gentlemen, none other than Mr. Dallas Soonias.
You guys are so good. You know that? I hope you know that. Like, you're so entertaining. I'm in the back here just grinning like an idiot. I am so proud. Like, if the show stops right now, man, you guys are great, man.
Thanks, bro. Thanks. Hey, so what's going on, man? Fatherhood. Well,
yeah.
First he changed the shirt, and then fatherhood.
Yeah. I had a really busy shirt on. I figure that's not for this medium. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Also, as you mentioned, I am a father now, and my 2-month-old son, maybe 15 minutes before we started, just dropped ass on me. Like, he hadn't pooed all day, and then it was just full evacuation. So I'm like, well, maybe I should just change it anyway. So that's what's going on in my life, man.
Right on, bro. So how is it, man, being a dad? Like everything right now, it's like, because like yours, you still seem very youthful to me, man. Like regardless of your knees, regardless of your shoulder, I always hear you complaining about, regardless of the back, bro, you seem very
It's all
youthful.
mess. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I do have the dad bod coming in. Last night, for whatever reason, I couldn't sleep till like 5:30 in the morning. And sometime at like 3 in the morning, I walked past a mirror. Oh no, it's we got to do something about this. Like it is. I look like a frog now. Like I'm just like, that body our people sometimes get. We've got the wild skinny legs, skinny arms. I'm getting that.
That's actually trademarked the counselor body, the chief and
Oh, is
counsel
that?
body, we actually call it. Yeah, like no limbs, but you just got this belly from eating good, from traveling everywhere with the travel checks, with the.
That's right.
Yeah.
All the conferences in Vegas exclusively.
For some weird reason. Yeah.
Yeah. For like water treatment that never happens. Yeah, they know about this water in Vegas. Let's go down there. Yeah.
Oh, bro, that's too funny. That's too funny.
Yeah.
All right, bro. First things first, we always do this, man. Take us back, bro. We want to know about young Dallas Soonias, bro. Where did you grow up? What were you doing? Were you playing volleyball? Were you already 6'8" at like 12, or like what was it?
Almost, man. Okay. I saw the episode with Ryan. What kind of language are we allowed to use?
Drop it all, bro. Yeah.
All right. I don't know. There's children's watching. It's always about the youth. So, I grew up in Red Deer, Alberta. You don't need to go if you haven't been. It's all good. I don't know if you noticed, like I don't live in Red Deer anymore. So, actually, none of my family lives in Red Deer. Oh, that's a lie already. My sister lives in Red Deer, but yeah, we didn't need to go hang out there anymore. My father grew up on Red Pheasant in Saskatchewan. That's the Cree side, and my mom, so Ojibwe from Neoshinigiming in Ontario. So she's Chippewa, Ojibwe, Anishinaabe. So I'm like a mix of those. Like a superhero, basically. So I grew up in Red Deer, which is probably very different than most Indigenous kids' upbringing. My brother and I were always tall, as you mentioned. We never really had an awkward phase. I don't know. Like I know some kids that grew up and they're just. They look like this thing, like straight away, like a head and then just super skinny body. You know what I'm saying? But that was never really our issue. We were always pretty proportionate. My brother and I, we could always control our bodies. So we just kind of grew up playing sport nonstop. Yeah. And when I say I was lucky to grow up, did I say I was lucky to grow up in a city? I feel like I was lucky to grow up in a city because my mom's was able to put us in like 8 different sports and whatnot. Strain, my brother, he chose basketball and I chose volleyball, and we got a lot of good opportunities. You fast forward like 10 years and then I'm on the national team. So that happened.
So
Damn.
Yeah. I like how you said, "Oh, I lied already." Like you have that counselor for someone that's set out for you already, man. Don't even. But we'll get into that later, man.
Hey, I admitted that I was telling a lie. Isn't that different?
Yeah, no, that's very different. Very much different. You're right. You got me there. So so you actually chose volleyball as a kid?
Yeah. So like, I'm in grade 9. Well, my brother and I both played basketball predominantly. Yeah. I remember a time in high school where I was on 6 different teams at one point, like just crazy running around from practice to practice. But in the end, I think I chose volleyball because my brother was a basketball player and I wanted to try something different. volleyball was like the start of the school year. So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna try this out, even though I'm a baller, thinking, whatever, this stupid white ball. Back in the day, we used to play with a white ball. I don't know if you youth remember that, but yeah, I'll try this. I jump all right, and I really liked it a lot more than basketball. I think what I realized is volleyball is a very communal game. Like in basketball or baseball, you can dominate a game by yourself. Whereas in volleyball, it's impossible to do that. Like two other people have to touch the ball. And it seemed like a more community-based game, in my opinion. And that kind of coincides with the way me and my brother were brought up. We were brought up by Indigenous people thinking holistically. That's what I think. I think that's why I gravitated towards volleyball.
Yeah, no, and I say the exact same thing all the time. I'm like, in order to have a good volleyball team, you have to be working like a well-oiled machine. Sure, you can have one star player, but the star player isn't going to do much if the passer ain't doing his job. And if the passer ain't doing his job, then the setter can't do his job to set up that star player, whether the star player is let's say Powered, because they get all the love, man. The Powers get all the love. There's never any love for
Well, middle, without a question, is the most thankless job in the world. It's like the most difficult position to play well, and you get no love. Like my wife was a middle, and it was volleyball stuff. I don't know how many volleyball players are watching, but yeah, middle's a tough thing to play for sure.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing though, is like we like exposing the audience who don't know about enough. We like getting in depth so they get a bigger understanding of it. And yeah, like I play middle. You played right side, right? Were you always a right side?
My first year, because I was tall, they're like, oh, he's a middle. But I was left-handed. So they're like, well, maybe we should try this right side opposite thing. And then it just kind of stuck because that was my whole shtick,
Yeah. So you just banged right side from like high school on out.
Yeah. I'm lucky that way. Honestly, I kind of wish at times I was right-handed because I liked receiving. Actually, when I played in China, I did receive as an opposite. So the rotation was all messed up, but it was so much fun to like pass the ball and hit the ball. You just have more control over you have more influence on the game. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So you can pass. Dallas Soonias can pass.
I should have played beach is what I should have done. After 20, actually, let me tell you about this. So I retired like twice. In 20, what year was that? Right after some Olympic qualifier, we didn't qualify. I was thinking, okay, I wonder if I should like try beach, because I had already been through 2 quads and we hadn't qualified. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try this beach thing. I'm just throwing the idea around. So I emailed the beach national team coach. I'm like, so how does this work with like carding money, or like, do I have to live in Toronto? Like, how does that work? So he emailed me back and gave me a little explanation. But he also emailed the coach of the indoor team. And the next day I got an email back from the national team coach, the indoor coach, and he's like, yo, we're going to try to do everything we can to make it an easy transition for you to beach. Good luck. I was like, whoa. I was just trying to get information about what beach was like. But I like, by like asking a question, I pretty much got myself kicked off the national team, which sucked. But that coach, he demands 100% buy-in to it. So yeah, that was a messy situation. This all happened when I was playing in Puerto Rico, playing indoor. So this happened, and I was like, oh, wow, well, I guess I'm off the national team. Well, I'll play this indoor season in Puerto Rico. There's like beaches and stuff. I should just chill, enjoy it, and then maybe move on to the beach game. First practice down in Puerto Rico, blew my shoulder up. And then I had to like retire, which totally sucked. So that was kind of a dark time in your boy's life. But What are you gonna do?
Yeah. How old were you around that time?
I must have been. It's a great question. What am I now? I was probably like 25,
25.
something like that. Yeah, a lot of players kind of get burnt out around 25 to 27. It's a tough gig to play 12 months. Yeah, you get it.
I get it.
It's tough playing, especially if you're like an international athlete, because you play your whole season and then you get a couple days off and you join the national team and then you do that for another like 4 or 5 months. So not only is your body just getting beat up, but mentally you don't get a break. So
Yeah.
it could be kind of tough.
Yeah, no, and I'm gonna bring in some old Indian drama I heard about this, if you do not mind. So apparently, what they said was they're like, "Oh, it's all politics," and they were like, they chose Gavin Schmidt over Dallas Soonias. So Dallas Soonias is the better player all around, and they said this was because it's all about who you know, and this is what I grew up hearing because
Wow.
um honestly, I didn't start volleyball until I was like 18 years old, dude. I am now
Wow.
5.
So
So
you're
I'm
fairly okay. You started late, fairly
very,
new to the game.
very new. Yeah, like it wasn't until after high school that I just started playing men's league. And then I went to a res tournament and Ryan signed me
Oh,
to go
sick.
play college. Literally, like Ryan came out to a reserve to
Yeah.
come watch us play and signed us. He signed me,
Wow.
Thunder Sky, and Tyler. We're the first 3 Indigenous players on Olds, and then he
Yeah.
signed a girl as well, Samantha.
Mhm.
That was up in Wabasca. We
Mhm.
ended up playing against like Regan Fathers and all those guys in the final. Man, those guys were just
Nice.
like crazy. And this is before I really knew how to play structured volleyball. Like I guess just growing up, kind of like playing sports. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
played all kinds of sports. So um, just like you, I never really had an awkward phase. Apart from this time when I tried skateboarding, I hit a growth spurt, and then like my center of balance was off, so I
Yeah.
couldn't
Yeah.
skate anymore just because like I got too tall. But like other than that, it's yeah. So essentially, that's what the talk of the town was. Is that like you should have
Wow.
been there at that Olympic level with that Olympic spot,
You
and
mean
it
like in 2016,
whenever it was with
like in Rio?
whenever
So
they chose the other right side over you.
let me explain. So Gavin is he's a specimen. He's an absolute. He was designed to play volleyball, and he was amazing at it. He's literally one of the top 5 in the world. Um, so that's nice that there was rumors like that. I'd never heard that, but uh, if Gavin was ever playing ahead of me, or if I was ever playing ahead of Gavin, it's because we were playing better than the other on that given week. Um, the national team, I think, was pretty lucky to have both of us for so long. Um, Rarely are there two. I shouldn't say rarely. I can't. That's kind of a crappy thing to say because that's talking down on the fellas that came before us. But I don't know if there had always been 2 players as
Neck
good
and
as
neck.
Gav and I were, I guess.
Mhm.
Well, I can't even say that because before me there was Paul Durden and Sebastian Rouet, who were both world class. Before that, the national team was just really lucky at the time to have both of us. And see, this is why I hate that I'm left. At certain times, I hated that I was left-handed because it was difficult to have Gav and I both on the court. I remember the first time we tried it, we had some crazy rotation. So what had happened? We're in the gym. Okay, let me even go back further. So some winter, the national team head coach is coaching in Turkey, I believe. And in some Champions League game, they're playing against an Italian team. So this legendary Italian coach is like, hey, Canada's doing well. You coach them in the summer. What if me and my coaching staff come to just observe practice for a week? And Glenn was like, yeah, great. And my understanding is this was like a very short interaction, like after a game or something. And then 5 months later, we're at practice, like in the gym in Canada, and these Italian bros stroll in. And I remember speaking with Glenn, and the feeling was like, I can't believe they actually showed up. I didn't know they were going to come because like the last time we spoke was 5 months ago. Anyways, they take a look at our personnel and our training for a week. And the Italian says to Glenn, why don't you get them both on the court? And we both play opposite. So it's not easy to do. But we came up with a rotation where I was receiving, and in one of the rotations, one of the middles was receiving. And that way I could be on the court and Gav could be on the court. So we put together this crazy rotation and we played Cuba and we beat them. And that was the first time like I'd ever beaten Cuba. And I do feel like it was a turning point for the national team program with the group of guys we had, where we kind of just started getting better and better. I think that must have been like 2009 or 2010, which is so long ago now, but the national team was kind of in a rut for a long time. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of when we started to get out of it, in my opinion. So sorry to make that story so long, but I don't think there was anything political about the choice to either play me or to play Gav. It was who's going to help the team at any particular time. Like, for example, one Olympic qualifying tournament, which for us is the biggest tournament there is because we're trying to get to the Olympics, Gavin had been starting. And for the final, I started. And it was because our coach felt that I lined up better against the opposition, you know? So it was nice to have the US in this particular game. No, I think more, it wasn't necessarily against the player. It was like whatever I brought to the floor would work against their group of 6 guys.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. It wasn't like player against player necessarily. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was super awesome to play with a dude like Gav for so long, because, you know, we sure enjoyed competing. It kept the level high, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever played against Robert Landy Simon with Cuba?
Oh yeah. He, I remember when he joined. See, the thing with Cubans, like once they started defecting from Cuba at a high rate, like these amazing athletes would come in and then they'd be gone, and then new ones would come in. So, and it seemed as though for a couple of years, Cuba had an endless stream of amazing athletes. And they still do. The team is really good, but it's not what they used to be, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Simon, yeah, that dude's incredible. Is that you talking about, Simon?
Yeah. He looks like a linebacker, and he's like what is he, 6'8", 6'9"? I think he touches like 12, 6.5 or something.
Yeah, he's
absolutely
incredible.
Bounces balls. Is that guy older than you? Because he's still playing.
See, that's my wife asked me that like 3 days ago, because we were watching a game on YouTube, which we don't really watch volleyball anymore, but we were watching this game, and she's like, "Wow, I can't believe that guy's still playing." I'm like, what? You know, he's younger than me. I'm pretty sure. He's like 33 or 34, I think. He kind of just always looked like a man. You know, he's a big fella. You know, and he plays like a man. You know. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredible athlete.
That's by far my favorite player, just as a middle, man. Like just the stuff he does, and is just such a good middle. But yeah. So
wait, hold on before you move on. There was 2 Cuban brothers, the Hernandez brothers, that played even a little before I did. Try to find some video on those dudes, because they were like peak Cuba, like incredible bros. So anyways.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, no. So I want to ask, what led you to RDC? And obviously at Red Deer College, you won 4 out of your 5 years there, 3 out of your 4 years.
I played 2. Okay, all right.
Oh so no. Oh yeah. So it's two at RDC, and then you went to the U of A. Yeah.
Right, but there's a gray area there. Okay, so I went to RDC my first year and we won, which was so much fun. But at Christmas time, on the Christmas break, we had gone down to Utah. We went down to BYU. I don't know if you've ever seen BYU volleyball, but they take it's huge down there. They love it. So we played them 2 nights in an exhibition, and we got smoked the first night, as we were kind of expecting to do. And our coach laid into us. I was very surprised when he did that. It's like, you're not respecting the game. Like, what are you doing? So, and he threatened to cut one guy if he like ate more of the pizza. I don't know. It was weird after the game. It was just a toxic vibe. You know what I'm saying? And then the next night we came back and we beat them in 5. And when you think about it, like they classify us as a junior college, so like a JUCO beating like a perennial best team in the NCAA, like it was pretty big. So they tried to sign, I think, 3 or 4 of us, and I was the only one foolish enough to do it. Because they're like, whoa, full ride, NCAA ball, let's go. You know what I'm saying? So I signed. For whatever reason, I didn't factor in that it's a Mormon school, and I'm very much not Mormon, very much not any religion, but like, yo, Provo, Utah, where BYU is, it's like a bubble of Mormonism. Like, I remember talking to some of the dudes on my team, Mormon dudes from California, and even they were like, it's a bit much for us too. And I'm coming from Red Deer College, which I don't know if it was a party school, but like we had a good time. You know what I'm saying? Which is fine when you're winning. You know what I'm saying? But what happened there is we won, and then I joined the junior national team, and we played our world championship in Iran. It was a long summer. It was the first like truly international summer for me, and I like busted my finger in Iran, and then we were stuck in Iran for 2 weeks after the tournament because we couldn't change our flights. It was a whole big thing. When I got back to Canada, the next morning, my mom's threw me in the car and we drove to Utah. And then I was in like the epicenter of Mormonism. And it just, I realize it now, but at the time I'm like, I could just do it. I could just keep going. We just keep going. If I feel like if I had taken a break, I could have made it work. But what happened after that, I lasted 33 days at BYU, took off, came back to RDC, and I think I got into classes like a day before the cutoff was to play. But we made it happen, and then we won that year again. So it all worked out. And BYU actually won that year in the NCAA. So it really worked out for everybody. In fact, one of my buddies, Victor Batista, he's from the Dominican Republic. He was able to come to BYU after I left. And then he ended up having a great international career. So like it was the right move. Then after that, I went to U of A for 2 years, and we did pretty well.
Did you guys win at U of A?
Yeah, we won my first year. And the second year, we lost in the final. And I don't think there's ever been such a beatdown in a national final. Especially, we had, I think, like 6 or 7 guys who played on the national team eventually.
Yeah.
And we just got thundered. It was Trinity Western's first championship. Mm-hmm. And man, they really gave it to us. I still think about it at night, you know. So shouts to them.
Yeah.
And then so that was 4 years. And then after my 4 years, I'm like, okay, I got to go try to make some money or something. I got to go pro.
So then you went pro.
Yeah. Like my thought process was I could play 5 years or I could play 4. And then that year is basically added on to the end of my professional career when you're making the most money. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that like university isn't going anywhere. So I can just do it when I get back. And that's what I did. Yeah, went pro. It was intense.
Where?
Where? Everywhere, man. Where haven't I played? Okay. Started in Poland. Played in France, Russia, Spain, Turkey, Puerto Rico, Indonesia for like a weekend actually. China, South Korea, the UAE where Dubai is, Qatar. I don't know where else I'm sure I'm missing somewhere, but Italy. I finished in Italy. So I played like everywhere.
Damn, bro, you're like the world's most interesting Indian man. I thought I've been to a lot of places. You've been to like everywhere. Have you ever been to New Zealand?
No. There's not a ton of volleyball down there. But like the places I just listed, that's where I played professional seasons. Whereas on the national team, we played so many different countries around the world, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been a lot of cool places. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Look right there. Somebody's asking which country was the strongest to play in. I'm guessing Russia or Italy.
I would say the strongest league that I played in was Russia, top to bottom, basically. They got some athletes there, you know. They got that oil money. You know, they can bring anybody. You know?
Yeah. And they brought in Mr. Soonias.
Well, which was a bad idea, by the way, because I don't know if you know Russian volleyball. There's this dude named Maxim Mikhailov. He's like the opposite for Kazan right now. So this team I went to had him, and he had just come off like MVP basically at the Olympics. Like, and he was so young. Like this young kid was amazing. And then they bring my mark ass in, and I came in like out of shape. Like it was so stupid. But their idea was to have him receive, and then me play opposite. But it just didn't work out because he wasn't a tremendous receiver, and I was playing bad. So it didn't work out. It didn't work out.
Let me ask you a question, Dallas. Why did you go to Red Deer College initially? Like, did you have CIS offers? Was it just like a can't miss dynasty type thing, or like what was it?
So like Red Deer had been winning a bunch at that point. In my mind, when you look at it now, they hadn't been winning a bunch. They'd won like 3. I think they'd won the last 2 or 3 nationals. Whereas now they have so many championships. But a lot of my friends were going to RDC. They were on the team when I was in grade 12. So in September, in my grade 12 year, the coach invited me to come train with RDC because they needed some other guys. That was the excuse Keith Hansen gave me. I'm sure he just wanted to try to like lock me in or whatever. But like all my friends from the provincial team were playing there, and I knew they were going to be good. So I pretty much told the coach, Keith Hansen, that I was going to go there in like October. So I'm sure I could have tried to go to some other schools, but I'm like, this is a good situation. I kind of want to play there.
You get to stay home?
Yeah. Truth be told, I really wanted to go to UCLA. What happened there is I sent them a VHS. I don't know if you guys know what VHSs are.
Yeah,
they're like cassettes. I don't know if you guys know what cassettes are, but they're like reel to reel. I don't know if you guys know what that is. I sent it through like mail because that's what you did to LA, and I got like there was like some dialogue. It looked like it may happen. But the coach there who does the recruiting got the job at Riverside University, Irvine University. So like my line of communication between me and UCLA just kind of like fell apart. But then that guy became the coach of the junior national team. And after playing on the junior national team, we're on the bus one day and he's like, by the way, Dallas, if you ever want to come south, you know, you let me know. I'm like, I did, man. I wanted to go to UCLA. I don't want to go to Irvine, which actually would have been wicked. But like at the time, I don't know anything. But yeah, I ended up going to RDC, which was great. So no complaints.
Yeah. Wasn't Gavin Schmidt on your university team too, or your college team?
No. Gav never. So he redshirted at Sask. And then I think he took a year off, and then he got convinced to go to RDC, but we never played there at the same time.
Oh, damn.
I think he may have came the year or like a couple years after me. I'm not really sure. But yeah, he just started bouncing balls.
Damn. All right.
Nowhere.
Yeah. What made you decide to go pro at the time? Like, and what was that transition like, bro? Like, a lot of people, like, you probably knew you were good enough, like, after like 1 or 2 years and like kept sticking it out. Was it the degree part or just like, what was it? And then what made you finally say, like, I'm about to get this paper type idea?
Also,
Well,
Raymond wants to know because Ray wants to go pro. He has all the talent in the world to be a pro goalie. So, yeah,
for
tell him
real?
about that, bro.
Okay. Well, they're very different sports. It's a very different situation, but I'll tell you my situation, and maybe it's relatable. So, again, I realized school will always be there. My body will not always be what it is. So I should try to go make this money. My first year I played in Poland. I played in a town called Radom, which is basically, it's like Regina. It was like the Regina of Poland in the sense that like there's not a ton going on. You know what I'm saying? It's more like an industrial place type thing. And Poland's like pretty rock hard to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So I went and I did not play good. I can't believe they kept me the whole year. I played we had 2 games before the season started, 2 exhibition games, and I played tremendous. Like I played at the level that I was used to playing at. And then just interacting with the coach and the way he ran practice, everything just fell apart for me for basically the entire season. And I played awful. Teams invest in players, not coaches. But I got to say, this fella had a lot of things going on that shouldn't have been going on. I say, as a professional, like it doesn't matter the situation around you. You need to perform. That's the whole point. That's what makes you professional. But I wasn't a professional yet. I was thrown into a very professional, a position where you have to be very professional, and I wasn't yet. I was like 20 something. All my friends were still in university, right? They still had another year to play. So it was actually super disappointing and depressing, if I'm honest. I'm like in this little apartment in Poland, and all my friends are back at U of A or RDC just doing the same things, like having a good time. And like you try to connect with them and they try to connect with you, but you're like 8 hours apart. And it's no fault of anybody, but it's like we can't have the same relationship because like you're way out doing other things. Like you're just in a completely different mindset. You know, you're in a place where you don't understand what anybody's saying ever. Like it's very different. But I do want to point out, after that first year, I did feel like I could deal with anything. And then that summer on the national team, after my first year pro, was a switch got turned in me, and I played and I got better and I really improved. And then the professional years after that, I actually played quite well. So it was nice in the sense that playing in Poland, it was such a bad situation. I grew the depression beard, like it was just rough, you know. But getting through that, I was like, all right, whatever, come at me, I can do whatever. So it was helpful in the end.
That's dope. All right, I'm gonna switch the vibe here a little bit, man. So you grow up in Red Deer. You're also a light-skinned native like myself, man. What was that like growing up like indigenous in Red Deer? Like, did you have like, I mean, let's be honest, volleyball predominantly, you know, settler sport. So you're probably not playing with a bunch of indigenous kids, especially in Red Deer. Was it hard? Like, was it
Man,
like,
Serain and
what was it
I
like?
felt like we were the only indigenous kids in the city, which isn't true, but it felt like that. What we found is, especially when we were young, we ended up gravitating to other minority kids. So like when my brother got his first car, which is mad hoopty, like I think it almost killed them with exhaust into the cabin type thing. But they would roll around and it'd be like, yo, here comes the UN, you know, because you just have all sorts of different nations in the car. So that we had lots of white friends, like good people, but it's just a different mentality, you know? So it was pretty tough, if I'm honest. And we realize that now. Like growing up in Red Deer, man, the colonizing mindset of that this is good and this is normal, this is how it's supposed to be, is very much this. They're all about it, you know. Sometimes you want to tell some parents' friends, like, read a book, like go somewhere, like get out of Red Deer, you know, learn something. So that my wife and I, when we retired, we made the decision. We didn't want to like raise a family in Red Deer, so we came to Calgary. It's more metropolitan, so to speak, because there was a lot of stuff looking back that I can't believe we had to deal with growing up in Red Deer, just because we were like, you know, who we are, you know.
Yeah.
No. Was there like moments that you can like remember specifically that like maybe just like feeling either, you know, like blatant racism, or like even in your volleyball career, maybe like some systematic racism that was taking place behind the scenes that you didn't really clue in on?
Okay, a couple things come to mind. The first thing that comes to mind is international sport, high level sport. When I go do camps and clinics and whatnot in communities, I tell the kids, like, the thing that I really liked, I realized that I liked about high level sport is it doesn't matter what you look like or what language you speak or what your hair color is. All that matters is, can you do the job? So that's one of the reasons I think I ended up thriving in sport. I remember my first year on the national team. I'm a bit of a weird kid at this point. We had a weekend off. I like went to a different province, and then I hitchhiked back, and I got back like a couple hours before the first practice, and I dyed my hair blue, and nobody batted an eye. Nobody gave a fuck. All they cared about was, well, can you do the job on Monday? Like, are you gonna? That's it. And I was like, wow, this is kind of great. I love this. So it's just it's an even playing field, I say, at the highest levels of sport, because you have actual stats. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt. So like the climb, like to get to that point, was there barriers or like things, or was it always just kind of like a little bit easier because you were so good?
Maybe there was, but if there was, I didn't see them. I think my parents saw them a lot. For example, like they can hear parents snickering in the crowd, where like when we're young, they'll be like, whoa, those two kids, like, are they 10 years old, or are they like actually 14? That sort of thing. And then my mom's would be like, no, they're just tall. And then parents would be like, I don't know, do they have proper documentation type thing? Like, I don't know how well they do things on the resume. Well, I'm from a city, you know, that sort of thing. I can understand that back in the day. For example, my father has like his birth certificate says Rodney Everett Soonias, and then like some other document that they had to give his parents the same day says like Everett Rodney Soonias. So I can see how that might happen. But like, we were just tall, you know, we were just really athletic. I know other parents weren't super jazzed at that. But as we got older, I could tell it was nice for my parents, because instead of snickering, they could hear parents in the crowd be like, oh, they're setting him again. Like, they're upset about it because, you know, your boy came with the thunder. You know what I'm saying?
Gang.
Yeah. See, okay, guys, this is somewhat high level. I know you're trying to change the vibe. This will not be entertaining to some people. I got a degree in psychology. If you've taken any intro psychology, you probably know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think in my mind, you can adapt that to generations. So my parents had a crazy rough time when they were young. My pops went to residential school, which was pretty rough. Mom's was part of the 60s sweep. And she had a pretty rough time in foster schools and stuff. So that's my parents. Well, okay, for example, I'm up here. I don't know if I'm in frame. I'm like here. Me and my brother are here. My parents are like here. Their parents are more on the base, and then their parents are more on the base. I feel like you go back 4 generations, even 5 generations, those parents are literally just trying to keep their kids from dying, from getting like taken to residential schools, and like they're literally trying to keep them alive. They don't have time, as much time, to focus on the higher needs of the kids. Whereas you go ahead a couple of generations, my parents, for whatever reason, ended up going to university, and they got crazy educated. My parents are academics. Between them, they have like 7 degrees or something like that. So they were able to focus on higher needs than their parents. Like, and then you take it to my brother and I feel like we're getting closer to the peak of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, whereas my brother is an artist, essentially. He's a poet. There's no way you go back 3-4 generations, my great grandparent could be a poet. You know what I'm saying? He's got to be hitting the land type thing, you know? So when I think back at the generations, I'm so happy of the work they did to get to a place where my brother and we can focus on like higher needs. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I don't know how I got on the topic, but it was on my mind.
That was dope.
Bro, no, that's actually super interesting. It's like, hey, look, Dallas has a brain. He's not just all brawn and he can't pound a ball, right? No,
yes, I'm wild brawn with the dad body. You know what I'm saying? Looking like a donut.
No, that's actually interesting because I remember reading a study too about I guess just based on socioeconomic status, and it's like how families I guess how they act towards their guests at supper time. Those who come from a lower like socioeconomic rank, they will ask, "Did you eat enough? Did he eat enough? Are you well fed? Do you want more?" And you'll go like a little level higher, and they'll ask, "How did the food taste? Was it good? Like, was it to your standards?" And then you go another level higher, and they'll be like, "Was like the food presentable enough? Was it presentable enough for you to like divulge in it?" So that's really cool that you just put that you just said that, because I remember like reading that study, and I might have butchered it a little bit because I read it like 4 or 5 years ago, but that's essentially what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's no cool as hell.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, I had a point, but now I forget it. Sorry, dude.
It happens. No, it happens. So we talk about coaching. You obviously finish your you finish playing volleyball. You retire about 5-6 times, and you want to be
Brett Favre.
Yo, man, that's the move though. As soon as you retire, they're like, "Oh, but we got all this money for you."
How does that start? Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah. So that's how it started at state, essentially. It's just like, hey,
no. I'm saying I came out of retirement twice because they're like, "Yo, these guys in the UAE want to pay you all this money." I'm like, "All right, well, I'll go over there and try it again." But yeah, I retired because my body blew up. But I actually started coaching at U of C. I helped assistant coach for a year there.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I decided, okay, let's do Red Deer. Or sorry, let's not go to Red Deer. Let's try Calgary. So I talked to the coach at U of C. I'm like, hey, do you need a guy? I'm gonna go. I got to finish this degree, and I helped coach there. I helped coach for 1 year, and then I decided, well, maybe SAIT might be a better fit. So I helped assistant coach there. And then Sean McKay, the coach of SAIT 2 years ago, got the job at U of S. And they were like, well, we have an opening in Dallas. Like, you want to take this? And I just graduated. So I'm like, all right, I ain't got nothing to do. Let's go for it, you know? So I coached last year. Now I'm doing a master's in coaching, which is really intense. There's a lot of homework. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now in terms of coaching.
Okay. So what are some examples, I guess, that you taken away from coaches in the past that you've like implemented in what you do now?
I don't really know. I can't point to one or two things because I've had so many coaches, and I was always of the mindset that even the most terrible coaches, which I had a few, they can still teach you stuff. Even if it's not like what to do, it's like what not to do, sort of thing. You know. One thing I can point to, Terry Daniluk was the coach at U of A. This guy's legendary coach, legendary player. And when I joined that team, when I joined U of A, I was already on the national team and playing a lot for the national team. But when I got to U of A, I really wasn't playing that much. A guy named Jeremy King was starting over me. And Jeremy was great in his own right. But I'm young and cocky, and I'm like, yo, why are you not playing me type thing. Obviously not saying that. I'm just getting super pissed off on the bench because I'm like, I'm good. Let me play. So we're playing against Long Beach State in an exhibition tournament. And it gets to the fifth set, and I get subbed in, and I score like every point, and I don't get stopped once. So I'm feeling high on myself after we win. And I walk up to Terry, and I'm like, Terry, okay, break it down for me. Why am I not playing? Which was such, I should have just left it alone. But I guess maybe it taught me this lesson. He said, in practice, you are very inconsistent, and often in games, you're inconsistent. And I have the stats to prove it. So you need to be good enough now that I have no excuse but to have you on the court. So that kind of stuck with me for the rest of my career. I have to be good enough for it to be undeniable to be on the court. So you think about when later in the career, when we have two good opposites like myself and Gavin, I have to be good enough that undeniably I have to be on the court. And over like I played internationally for 15 years. Like there's ebb and flow. So like you're always trying to improve, but sometimes you are playing crappy, you know? So I don't see politics in the choices of who's playing it when it's at an international level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is it tough to like balance different personalities as a coach, and like what has that been like too? Like, are you more of like a player's coach? Are you more of a structure and disciplinary coach? Like, how do you take your coaching stuff?
Well, I think you'd have to ask the guys I've coached. In terms of coaching, I'm a very young coach. Like I still have so much to learn. Like if you go back 4 or 5 years, I understand the game at a very high level. But that's already 5 years ago. The game has already developed so much. So I don't really know. I don't think I'm the most structured. Like I don't know before the year exactly what we're going to do every day in the yearly plan. I know what it's going to look like, but it's not like I have it written down. Part of that might be because I'm dyslexic as fuck. Like, I can like hardly read. I have dysgraphia, I have dyscalculia. So like any sort of westernized learning, I'm terrible at, you know? Tell me a story, or if I listen to a podcast, I'm good. You know what I mean? Or like something visual. You like show me good players, and like I used to be able to like just do that with my body. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So back to your question, there is structure to the way I coach, but it's certainly not a Western style of teaching. You know, I try to teach in a more holistic way just because that's how I've learned the best, you know, but it is tough because I know lots of guys learn in a very different way. That's kind of why I went into this coaching masters, so I can learn to structure things that's going to help everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Have you read the Phil Jackson book just on how he implemented Native American tradition to when he coached the Bulls and just stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of those books I was reading while I was playing, and which is really tough because again, I'm dyslexic, but like it's so interesting. Might take me like, so much longer to read something than the normal person. But yeah, absolutely. I loved Phil Jackson's books. And also Bill Russell was a huge influence on me. I don't know if you guys know about Bill Russell at all.
Yeah, 11
was,
rings. I
Yeah,
think.
he won like 11
Yeah.
championships when there was like 7 teams or something.
Yeah, true.
Just kidding.
Yo, but you can't, like, that wasn't his fault. You can't.
Yeah.
Maybe if he played now, who knows? But he was the best. He beat absolutely everybody when there was only that many people around. You know what I'm saying? So it's like kind of hard to dog the guy, you know?
Yeah.
He was a champion. In his era, he was a champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We got another question.
Yo,
Look at that.
Hold up. Wait, hold on. Think about like Napoleon or Alexander the Great. Those guys, people think of those guys as great conquerors and leaders. If they went up against like our military now, they get annihilated. You know? So does that mean they're garbage? No. They did the absolute best at the time, you know? Anyways, sorry.
While we're
You got
still
a
on
question?
basketball, yeah, let's go. We got it's right in the chat here. Jordan or LeBron? Who we got?
I would so much more rather play with Jordan than LeBron. And I know it would be super tough to play with Michael Jordan, but that's who I would want to play with because everybody got better. I look at LeBron and I've played with guys like LeBron who are incredible, but they don't win as much as they should. You know what I'm saying? So I would much rather play with Jordan.
All right. Here's another dope question. We'll go
Thank
back
you.
to that's cap,
Thank
but we'll move on. Yeah, I've had enough arguments with River.
Tell me your opinion, your argument.
I just think that it comes down to like I guess from a standpoint of like if you want to play with them, yeah, you would get better playing with Michael Jordan. But I think the trust level that LeBron has for his other teammates, like for instance, you know, Game 5 when he gives it up to Danny Green, that's the right basketball play. I think LeBron always makes the right basketball play, whereas Jordan makes the smartest play for himself. But he's also extremely, extremely clutch. So yeah, I don't think
Which
that
LeBron isn't.
Well, yeah, we can go into that too. But no, I personally, I see LeBron James and I see a complete 100% basketball player. I see Michael Jordan as like a killer, like a dude that like he's going to figure out a way to win, like you said, every time. But he's also on the flip side of that, he didn't win every time, right? So,
right, but then you, like you said, like LeBron knew to give that ball to Danny Green. Jordan knew to give that ball to Steve Kerr for one of his championships. You know, it's very similar.
Right.
Anyways,
but,
we could.
Yeah, but then you have the argument though that somebody would say, well, Michael Jordan still would have took the shot. Like Michael Jordan's like legacy and the idea of Michael Jordan is built on him being the man, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
Well, yeah, a winner for sure. Insane, like an insane winner.
Yeah.
I don't know how sweet it would be to be friends with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
But I would want him on my team every single time, far more than LeBron. I don't know. I've just heard sometimes LeBron is mic'd up and I hear him interacting and there's nuance and stuff at the highest level.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, no. That's not, oh man, I don't want to play with you. You're a clown. Incredible athlete and obviously a champion, but I would sooner play with Jordan.
There we go. No, that was good. That was good. No, I like that.
What's the series, Ray? Like 3-3 now, I think.
What's that? On what?
Of every guest that we bring in and we ask them Jordan or LeBron.
Yeah,
I think we're tied at 3-3 now.
Yeah, you evened it up. We were 3-2 LeBron before this, and
thanks.
Yeah. Well, I'm older, you know.
Yeah, it's all you old heads.
Yeah. No, but if you had said LeBron, Jordan, or Bill Russell, I would have said Bill Russell.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. This is a cool question.
Hold up. Before question. How about Kobe? What do you think about Kobe?
I'd sooner play with Jordan or Bill Russell.
Okay.
I might even play with LeBron over Kobe, if I'm honest.
Really?
Yeah. Incredible athlete. By the way, I'm not saying like I wouldn't want to play with those guys, but if I had to choose one of the other, it's like, okay, I guess I'll play with Kobe. You know what I'm saying? But like, I would want to play with Bill Russell.
R.I.P. Wade Kobe.
Word. All right, here we go. How do you talk to players when you cut them? Like, what do you say or advice to them? Is there like a certain way you cut players?
This goes back to a question you asked before, like what is something I've taken from coaches? Glenn Hogue is the coach of the national team again, and he is a tremendous coach. He is a guy that will give it to you straight, good or bad. And I think I had this talk with him at one point. Like when you cut players, you spell it out for them as clear as you possibly can, so nothing is in the gray. And then they'll be upset. People are going to be upset, but when they process it the next day, the next week, they have the facts. If you only use the facts, if you take emotion out of things, that's the only way you can do these things. No, sorry, there's other ways to do it, but that's, in my opinion, the best way to do it.
That's dope. What country did you have the most fun in, dude?
The most fun?
Yeah.
Oh,
what was the live nights in Russia? Was it Emirates? Like
There's a couple. Well, I mean, this is the thing. I played a long time, so there was some good times everywhere. But I would say the most fun, ironically, the most fun and the least fun was in Korea, because it's like the NBA there. Games were so much fun to play in. Such a crazy environment. And like people would recognize you around the country. It was on like HD TV on a couple channels every night. But also the lifestyle there was the hardest, because the team would live together in like a dorm basically, and you'd live with the coaches, you'd live with the doctors, and we lived right next door to our training gym. So that was it. Sometimes we'd be training 3 times a day. And we were averaging, I think, like 1.5 days off a month. So it was like, I was definitely the strongest I'd ever been there, but it was also like, this kind of sucks, you know? Like you have all your meals there. The weight room is right beside the kitchen. The gym is in the next building. And then you live in like a dorm for the whole year. So yeah, it was, but again, playing was incredible. It was so much fun to play.
Dope. All right. Kendall Netmaker says, what's up, Kendall? Hey, Dow, share expanded Russia story you shared at JP2 and NB. Take us back.
Oh, man. That's such a long story, Kendall. Why you got to do that to me? You know, he knows this story. I'll give you the, can I even give you the condensed version? Basically, I retired. My body blew up. I'm like, okay, I had to pay a bunch of money back to the club that I left. Oh, I'm getting anxiety just thinking about this. Thanks for that, Kendall. So I got like the paycheck in Puerto Rico, like the day, hold on, I got to open the window. I'm getting hot. You know what I'm saying? I got the paycheck in Puerto Rico, like the day that the doctor was like, your shoulder is wrecked. You need surgery. So I'm like, great, I guess that's that. I go back to Canada and they're like, yeah, we can get you surgery in a year. I'm like, okay, I get that. For the average person, that's like that works. That's awesome. It's free. It's healthcare. But for me, my body is my tool. You know, like if I lose a year, that's a year's salary. Like there's literally nothing else I can do. So again, if you remember, I told you I was not associated with the national team. So I just moved back to Canada. Winter came. All my friends are out around the world doing what they love. I'm in Ottawa just depressed. So I'm like, okay, I got to do something. I spent a whole bunch of money. I went down to California and got shoulder surgery to like repair it. And that came out of my pocket. So that was quite expensive. And then after I had the surgery, the club that I left in Puerto Rico, they were like, yo, you owe us all that money back. Because they had the opinion that I showed up injured, which is not actually what happened. So I'm just going in debt like crazy. I have no support system. I'm getting very depressed. I'm noticing cycles in my daily habits. I'm like, this is bad. You know, this could end bad. I realized, okay, I better talk to somebody. So I hooked up with a psychologist, and that one of the big takeaways is that when you retire, it's like you have to treat it like a death in the family, because it's like a loss of an identity. Your whole identity, 12 months a year forever, has been wrapped up in you're this athlete. Now you're nothing. You can't even lift your arm type thing. So we went through these grieving steps, and eventually I landed in a good place. And then all of a sudden my shoulders started to feel better. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I can play again. So I like called up the national team. I'm like, yo, can I like maybe try to like, you know, hit a ball and play some pepper? And to their credit, they're like, yeah, you can come try to train. So I came in, and I remember the first day I just grabbed a ball and I was like, I wonder if I can like even hit this against the wall. So then I grabbed a ball and I'm like 2 courts away from the actual team training. And I'm just like, okay, I can like kind of hit a ball against the wall. Wicked. And then I went home. I couldn't lift my arm for like 5 days. But I'm like, yo, I could do that for one day. Maybe I can like do this again. So I came back and I'm like working. Eventually, a couple months later, I'm like, do you think I could like try to train, like just in the back row, whatever? Point is, I slowly worked my way back into the national team program. And I'd seen a psychologist for a couple months at this point. I was in a way better headspace, just about the whole thing, about life. The summer starts, and it's an unlucky lucky situation. I somehow got on the World League roster as like the 4th opposite. Guys started to get injured, and the week that they had to put me in the lineup was literally like the first week I felt like I could hit a ball at like 80%. And I'm like, holy crap, like I thought I was retired. Now I'm playing against like Korea, like the place where I was playing pro. And then the next day I was playing against like other countries, you know, World League, you play against different countries every year or every day. I'm like, okay, like I cannot hit the ball nearly as hard as I used to, but I am way better just because like my defense is better, my blocking is better. I'd taken the year off, and turns out I just learned the game so much better, and I learned how to help my teammates so much better. So we fast forward to the summer that we had the best summer the national team had the entire time that I had been on. And for one reason or another, we made the World League final, and we line up against Russia in our first game. And Russia had just won the Olympic gold medal a year earlier. And we beat them in 5. So for me, there's no way, like I after the game, I asked our coach, like, when's the last time Canada beat Russia? And he's like, never happened. It was the first time ever. So it was pretty amazing for the team, and also for me personally, to come from like literally a very dark place maybe 4 months earlier to we just beat the reigning Olympic champions. And then the national team just, again, we got better and better, you know? And I did it on like a broken wing, basically. So that's the Russia story that Kendall's talking about.
Damn, bro, that's cool as heck, man. Why don't we talk about the injuries with volleyball, man? Like,
Sure.
it's so taxing on the body, and like just the misconception that like it's a girly sport when like it's far from it.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like, I think outside of North America, it doesn't necessarily have that stigma. There's professional leagues everywhere outside of North America. As soon as you go south, east, west, like it's a professional sport. The game is terrible for you. Like it's not healthy to do 12 months a year. Like in basketball, there's jumping, there's dunking. It's more running though. In volleyball, you're jumping hundreds of times every day, and the human body is not meant to jump that often. It's rarely meant to jump, but if you're doing it every day for decades, it's going to wear on you. Consider this as well. Like pitchers throw the ball, a closing pitcher plays or a starting pitcher plays like every week or something, like every 6 days, 5 days, and they throw like 100 pitches. Whereas in volleyball, you're going to do at least 100 quote pitches every day, every practice, and you're doing it off the ground. Like a pitcher has the ground, the mound to work against. Whereas in volleyball, you're in the air. The only thing you have to slow all this momentum is your own body. So it's very, very jarring on yourself. So that's why my shoulder pretty much exploded. And they had to like cut my collarbone back, and they cut some bones off in the back. So like my shoulder is just wonky now. So yeah, volleyball is not good for you at all. I also have like 3 herniated discs in my back. That's like not good if you want to be a jumper. Like, ugh. Anyways, yeah, volleyball is not good for you.
Yeah,
A lot of fun.
no, yeah, for real. And same thing with me, man. Like the ankle sprain, like I don't have a ligament in my ankle anymore due to an injury.
Yep.
Before the season before this season, it was actually in.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was in preseason. We're just practicing, and it like accidents happen. A foot lands on another, and they're essentially the physio people were like, "Yeah, you don't have any more ligaments." And I was like, "Oh shit!"
Not attached.
And I thought I would never be the same again. I was so depressed with that injury, dude. Like I was depressed. I thought like I was never gonna jump the same amount. I'd jump as high as I used to. I'd never be able to be as fast. I thought I'd have to wear an ankle brace for the rest of my life. And like we could even talk about like how wearing braces isn't good for the body too, because essentially with the brace, you're training your muscles to be lazy because the brace takes all of the impact for you, right? And like wearing that long term essentially just weakens your body more and more and more. So like we have to get off those braces. And luckily I knew about that. Because like as far as fitness goes, like I try to read up as much as I can with everything new fitness related. And luckily I knew that at the time. So but I was in a dark place with that. And about 5-6 weeks I finally started being able to move laterally again, whatever. I don't think I played until like the 9th week, and I think it was actually against Sate. I came on for my very first game was against Sate. It was for like a set or two, and then Ryan, like the other middle, I don't think he was doing too well. So then Ryan was like, "All right, let's give River a chance." I go on, and then I'm not doing well, and he's like, "Get ready to take him off. We're gonna sub him off." And then I get a couple blocks, and then he's like, "All right, keep him on a little longer." And like I'm like, after learning about that, I'm like, "Holy shit, what a roller coaster that goes through a coach's mind," you know? And then and then I just ended up playing like 1 or 2 sets maybe just to like get the feel of it again. And but yeah, it was it was bad. And essentially what I did with that was I just I strengthened my ankle. That's all I could really do. I would wear a brace in practice when there is things that are uncontrollable happening outside of your body, outside of your control, right? Like there's things you can't control. So I wore a brace in the meantime, and I'd practice with it. But every chance I got, I would take that brace off. When I'd go to the gym, when I'd go work out, when I'd go do sprints, when I do plyometrics, because I hated the fact of having to wear a brace again. So and come about February 1 game, I just took the brace off. I don't know why. And I wore a sleeve, like a little Nike sleeve. It wouldn't help at all, but just the placebo effect of it, right? And and then suddenly my ankle just felt better. And now like it's still a little swollen, but like my ankle feels like as if everything is still attached. I feel amazing. I still get like shoulder pain, I still get back pain, but I mean you just kind of have to strengthen the abs a little bit and whatnot. I don't know what to do about the shoulder, right? Because stuff is gonna go. Stuff is definitely gonna go.
It's pretty tough with volleyball. The overuse injuries, especially with the shoulder, it's tough. It's hard to get away from, you know. But just strengthening the small muscles in the shoulder, that's kind of the best you can do, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but injuries, man, it's tough. Very, very tough.
It is
Yeah.
tough for real. And that's the thing too, is I never knew how crazy volleyball is until I started actually really, really paying attention to it. It's like dudes are jumping like 40 inches in the air and they're pounding a
Over
ball
and over and over again, not
and
just
they're
once.
exactly and they're pounding a
Yeah,
ball like 120 kilometers right at you.
yeah,
A ball's coming at you 120 kilometers. You have to react. Otherwise, you're gonna
yeah.
get in a face, and like that shit hurts.
Yes, it does. Yeah, that's a
That's
grown man putting everything he can into like a ball at your face.
exactly
Yeah,
right. It's yeah,
can be tough.
volleyball's crazy. Actually, I even like I needed 7 stitches on this finger here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but
Really?
like trying to block.
Yeah,
Um, we're playing a tournament, and like I was jumping decent at the time, and I got a little too cocky. I
yeah,
got a little too cocky. I tried just absolutely wrapping him up to the point
yeah.
where I came straight like this,
Oh,
opposed to like
yeah,
this,
yeah, yeah,
straight like this, and it was a ball right into this finger. It exploded, and
yeah.
this part actually came on top of here. It came up,
Whoa.
like you ever see the Steph
Yeah,
Curry injury? What
yeah,
I
yeah.
was, yeah, it's exactly what happened. I was sitting there
Mm.
and I looked and I didn't want anybody else to freak out. So I pulled it and nothing happened. And I looked and everybody's like looking around and like, what's
Oh
wrong?
my gosh.
And I pulled it once more and it popped. I heard this pop and I was like, ow. And I thought I was okay to keep playing. And then
Yeah,
I actually gave one of the boys like a high five and there was blood
yeah.
on their hand. And
Oh
they're
man.
sitting there and they're like, what is that? And I look and like my fingers like split open like this. And not to mention that it probably went all the way back and like it
Yeah.
was the worst thing ever. It hurt so much. And once again I couldn't play for like maybe 4 or 5 weeks. And that was actually a time when we were supposed to go to College of the Rockies for a
Oh, that sucks.
tournament, right? So yeah, man,
I had
like
a very sorry.
I'm like a adolescence in terms of volleyball. Like
Mm.
I'm like a baby in terms of like long term volleyball, but like I've already had these injuries, and I don't know if
Yeah,
I want to
I
keep
had
doing
the
it.
I had the same injury in Iran. I did the same thing back when I used to jump really high. I went like straight over against Brazil. This guy named Wallace, and I don't know, like you can't block anything like this. This is stupid. Like you need to create something for them to hit against. And like my finger completely like ruptured, so then it was just like bent, um, and I couldn't straighten it. And there's like video of like playing a couple rallies, and I like started scratching myself. I'm like something feels wrong, and I look at my finger and it's totally bent. And then I just left the court, and the ref is like, no, 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 what we need to like sub you out. There's like protocol, and I just showed him my hand. He's like, oh, okay, just keep it moving, you know. And yeah, you don't want to get injured in Iran. It was an intense situation.
What they chop it off? No, I'm just kidding.
No, 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 no. Uh, it was actually quite the opposite. I think there was a bunch of doctors in the stadium. They were just bored. Nothing was happening. So as soon as I got off the floor, there was like 10 doctors around me. And they're all just like, there's nothing they could do. The finger's ruptured. So they threw me in a taxi, and they must have told him, the taxi driver, to like take care of the Canadian athlete. We don't want an international incident. And this dude went crazy through Tehran, the capital city of Iran, just like weaving through people to get me to like the hospital. And then we got me there, and the doctor was like, "Yeah, nothing we can do." So really, wasn't a huge issue. Like we had to just splint it for like 2 months, and it kind of healed.
Damn, Wallace, that's that right side, right? Is
Yeah, yeah.
number
There's
eight.
a couple dudes named Wallace in
Oh,
Brazil who play opposite, but this guy was a pretty amazing athlete as well. It's a different Wallace than you're thinking of, though.
okay, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's crazy, man. And so, in terms of like when you were playing, were you always with the basketball shoes, or are you with the Mizunos and the A6 and the
I think the
volleyball
first
kit?
half, I think the first half of my career, I was wearing Asics mostly, but then basketball shoes were just better. in my opinion. They're constructed a lot better. The national team got sponsored by Mizuno, but for most of the fellas, the construction of the shoe wasn't strong enough. So we would wear basketball shoes basically. And a lot of countries were doing this. Like if you look back at a lot of international competitions, like if you see pictures from before the competition started, like Brazil, they're all wearing different shoes than their team sponsor. And then when they get to the game, they wear the official, whatever they have to wear. It's very similar with the Canadian team. We'll all wear the shoes we want. And then for games, we have to wear Mizuno. I'm not sure what the situation is now. Like I've been retired for a while, but that's how it was when I was on the team.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about your little sneakerhead obsession, because sometimes I be posting sneakers on the story and I get a little DM with the fire emoji from Dallas Soonias.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I just really like shoes. In fact, I just got a message from like the Nike bros, we call us, and we got a little Instagram group. It's myself, Fred Winters. I don't know if you know him. He's like the OG head. He's got like lockers and lockers and lockers of kicks. So he kind of put me onto it. My man Dan Carrillo, who played volleyball, and now he's like an executive at Nike down in Portland. My man Rob Ellis, who we played together at RDC, he's now like the head of North American something at Nike. And my man B Arnold, who's like up high with like the Verzani group. Yeah, I'm lucky to be part. The only reason I'm in this group is because I put the group together. But I think what happened is I like sneakers. I started dating my wife, and I unleashed a monster basically. So like she wears a size 9, I wear a size 15. So like she gets everything, or she used to. And like it's pretty hard to find a 15, whereas like Earth wears a 9. You know what I'm saying? So like we have a lot of the same shoes. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Jordan 1s. You know, if I was to open that door, you'd see a rack of Jordan 1s right over there, but I'm not going to open the door.
Oh shit! How many shoes do you think you got?
Between my wife and I, probably a couple hundred pairs. We spent way too much on them. Now that we have a kid, we're like, what are we doing? You know, that was dumb.
Yeah.
Hopefully the kid gets to wear size 15. He's going to wear all his mom's for sure at one point or another, but I don't know if he's going to get 15s.
Yeah. No, would you ever play in a pair of court shoes? So like retro Jordans. Would you ever play in some court shoes?
Jordan 1s are terrible for you. Like he broke his foot wearing them, you know? I do know one guy, shouts to Steve Marshall. He wears Jordan 1s now and again, like on court, but he's a freaky athlete. I'm like heavier, or I was heavier than him. I might wear like 11s, but that would be like it, you know?
Yeah.
Other than that, like the actual construction back in the day, it was like groundbreaking at the time, but it's pretty rudimentary. Like anything, you'd be like, are you using the first iPhone? You know what I'm saying? Like the technology just gets broke.
No, I got it. Yeah, no, I was just wondering because I actually bought a pair of 13s that I actually wear on court.
Nice.
They're the comfiest things ever, dude. They're actually so bad, and like everybody roasts me for it. They're retros. You know what I mean? Like you're supposed to like dead stock them and take care of them. I'm like, bro, they're court shoes. I'm gonna wear them to play volleyball.
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate of wear your kicks. Like I know if I put all these Jordans on ice after that Jordan documentary came out, I would have been able to flip those for, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's up? But I wear every pair of my kicks just out of principle, you know? Like I got a pair in that little thing, that closet or whatever, that's going for like $2,000, but I've like worn them a couple times. So like, yeah, kind of hoop myself there.
What are those?
I'm going to show them to you. Let me see if they're even in the box. Oh. All right, so right here, you know what I'm saying? We got the Jordan 2 Just Dawns. These are the beach joints. Shout to my man who works down at the Nike campus for copping these for me at lunchtime one day. let me open this up, see what we got. Let me turn this down a little bit. Okay, so there's a lot going on in here. So first you got to notice the wings, you know what I'm saying? Came with a hat. And then you got, these are actually size 14. But the sail, just the quilted joints, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
if you can see in there, I don't know if you can see in, but like the insole itself is actually quilted. Hold on, let me see if we can get it.
Yeah, I
don't know if you
see
can
that.
see it.
Yeah, we see
Damn.
it.
Yeah, I love these kicks, and they got the gold tips, So I don't know what they're going for now, but if I had not worn these, I probably could have flipped these for, tuition.
Yeah, no. Those are the. Is it the twos that were inspired after Italian fashion, or the threes?
The twos, yeah, the twos.
Those are the twos, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is, like, Jordan was about to leave Nike even after these.
Really?
Like he wore the ones, he wore the twos, and I think it was Tinker Hatfield, I think, designed the threes and on. But yeah, Jordan was like, I've broken my foot. The twos are kind of whatever. I'm gonna go to a different company. But then Tinker showed him his illustrations. He's like, all right, I'll stick around. I'm pretty sure that's more or less how that worked.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. These are what I got.
Yeah.
I got these.
Oh, yeah. See, those are great playing. Actually, one of the setters I played with on the national team, shouts to Dustin Schneider, he played in those. He loved wearing those. They're super comfy.
They are.
Those are great to play in. Don't let anybody talk some shit. Like, those are great to play in.
For sure, bro. Oh, look right here. Somebody said, please do an MTV welcome to my crib, but show off all your Jordans.
They're all downstairs. We got the racks, Sorry, next time I'll bring like my top 5 or something.
All right, sounds good. Yo, let's get into some fan questions, though. Let's get some. Right here. Best shoes to play in. Thunder Sky. That's our
Kobe
goat.
6s. Hands down, the Kobe 6s. Yeah. I went through so many pairs of those. They're actually, Nike adapted them into, I think, the Hyper Spike or something. And they were a Kobe 6 without the Kobe branding. So it was the same construction, but they didn't have to pay Kobe like 17 points on every pair or something like that. But yeah, so you can still kind of find them. And yeah, the Kobe 6 for sure.
Kobe 6 for sure. All right. Are you familiar with the Scott Sterling volleyball video? I think it's hilarious.
Is that I think that's the one where the guy gets hit in the face over and over again?
Yeah, over and over and over.
Yeah. They did that. That was really well done. Like with the timing and everything.
Yeah.
It's hard to fake volleyball. It's hard to have volleyball on TV and have it not look terrible. So like they did really good making that video.
Right? For sure. What is your mantra when something is really tough?
Mantra? Oh my gosh. Shut it down. I don't know. Like, this is the thing. I wouldn't say I have a mantra, but as I mentioned, I grew up with an older brother who was a really incredible athlete. And he's 2 years older than me. So I was always playing with him and his friends and just getting the shit beat out of me for my entire life. And I was always playing up. So then once I started a different sport, it was just built in me to compete. Just go, just keep doing the work,
Yeah.
That's like that's the athletes who have older siblings understand this really well. Like, it's just in you to compete and not stop competing. So I wouldn't necessarily say that there's a mantra. There's just more or less something, for better, for worse, that's been like grilled into me,
Yeah. Were you a high jumper in high school?
I was actually. I didn't have the proper technique, but I did jump pretty high. Did some triple jump, did some javelin. Like, as I mentioned, like, And if I can encourage like you, if there's any young athletes, do play every sport, because the studies show when you do specialize, you're going to be a better athlete because you know how to use all of your body. So yeah, I did do track and field. It was a lot of fun.
Bro, I say that too. Like that's what I strongly believe in is like sports specialization, I guess, our focus at a young age is almost detrimental.
It is detrimental.
You have to play every single sport as a kid. And I think that's how I was able to get into volleyball at a much older age. It's just, I feel like the most three important things of human foundations is that you have to be able to throw, you have to be able to catch, and you have to be able to run. And like once you build those foundations, I feel like there's plenty of sports you could play, because you look at all the greatest athletes in the world, they could go play other sports. Like LeBron could have played football, he said. Like Michael Jordan obviously played baseball, right? And like, so yeah, you can definitely play more. That's dope. That's dope. You know about that. A lot of our like the guests that would come on, they don't really know too much about that, and just a lot of people in general. So yeah, if you have kids out there, get them into everything.
Same
And
thing
then
with like.
Go ahead.
So I got the 2-month-old kid. As soon as we can, we're gonna get him into like baby gymnastics or something. You know, just as soon as a kid can like learn to control their body, ahead of the game. You know.
Exactly, for sure. Right here, Shaylin Fox said, "Who is going to NCAA March Madness?"
I'm like, I have no idea what's happening with March Madness this year, but I'm gonna watch it. You know, you got to watch that Final Four. It's amazing. But yeah, I thought teams were like getting kicked out of the tournament for testing positive and stuff. So yeah, no idea.
Yeah, I don't know much about Ray. You know anything about that? Ray follows basketball a lot more than I. He's muted. You're muted.
First year that Kentucky and Duke both aren't in the national tournament, I believe. One of them was because of COVID test, and then the other one was because they absolutely sucked. But yeah, there's like 9 and 16 this year, Kentucky. I was looking in the comment sections on ESPN. They're like, "Yo, they haven't been able to pay their players this year." So that's what's going on, bro. But yeah, man. I don't know. We're riding with Gonzaga, undefeated going into the tournament.
Gonzaga always is like, oh, this is their year, number one, and then just beat down.
Yeah, you know? I might rock with Michigan. They got the old Fab Four coach Juwan Howard leading the helm. They got a 1 seed too, and I think they got smoked. Yeah, they got smoked by Gonzaga maybe a few weeks ago, but who knows? Maybe that's what they needed. And yeah, it'll be an interesting tournament. I only watched Sweet 16. I watched the first round games, and then I skipped the next two, and then I watched like the Elite 8 to Final Four, and but yeah, you got to skip those two. The 32 and the 16 are never that cool.
I think that's a great way to go at it. You know, those first 2 days are amazing, and then like, all right, sort yourselves out, and then we'll watch the Sweet 16.
Yeah. All right. Highest spike / block reach in your entire career.
I touched 12 feet one day, and I had the highest touch in Canada for like 6 minutes. I was like tied with the highest touch for like years and years, and then I broke 12 feet finally. I was like, wow, I finally did it. I didn't think I had it in me. And then my man Justin Duff got like 12'2", and now guys are like way higher than that. Like, but it was stuck just under 12 feet for like 30 years, pretty much. It was like Garth Pischke was just under 12 feet. And then my man Terry Martin was just under 12 feet. And then I was just under 12 feet. And I barely got 12 feet. And then it just kind of, exploded from there. Block touch, I have no idea. Sorry, that's very volleyball specific for you, Ray.
Yeah, man, I'm a little out of the loop, but I'm learning. Hey, what the heck? Let's ask another question. Is your son going to play sports?
Yeah, we want him to be a closing pitcher. He's going to be 6'10", left-handed, and like fight me. You say different, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro, the next Randy Johnson, man. Hopefully he's a lefty like you. You'll be 100.
Honestly, if he plays, like, he's going to want to be a poet or something for sure. He's just going to want to paint. He's going to be like this amazing physical specimen. He's just going to want to like do slam poetry out here, you know? But I don't know. Whatever he does, I hope he's just good at it. You know?
Yeah. Is that going to be hard, do you think, to like both like your wife as well too is an extremely high level athlete, you as well. Are you like worried about that yet? Like pushing him into sports, or like you just going to let it come to him? Like, how's that going to be?
We're just going to let it come to him is what I think is going to happen. Like, for example, my parents weren't athletes really, and they didn't really, I wouldn't say they pushed us into sport. They let us try everything. They let us try a lot of other things away from sport too. So we hope to just let him find his interests, and as long as he's enjoying it, he's having fun, generally he's going to get good at it, you know?
Yeah. Here we go. What would you say to other future volleyball players out there that just don't have the resources? What's the best way to get noticed?
So when I started coaching in communities, my whole thought was like, the next Olympians are on the res running around somewhere. And there's some incredible athletes in these remote locations. But as that person just pointed out, it's tough to get noticed. Like Riv knows that. But it's 2021, and there's the ability to record you playing on a phone, and you can get that to a coach. So every coach I know, if you reach out to them, they're going to say, great, thanks for reaching out. Do you have any video I can watch? So the ability to show your game, it's kind of changed the whole thing now. Like geography is not as much of an issue now in recruiting. So make sure you have game tape. That's what I can say to athletes in remote locations. Because a smart coach, even if the level of the game isn't that high, a smart coach will be able to notice, okay, this athlete knows how to use their body, you know, and maybe we can do something in a couple years. You know, I think that's the best bet.
Yeah. I got a serious question to ask, because I don't think a lot of people realize the lack of high level Indigenous coaches at your level and even higher, right? Like I've never in my career ever seen a coach at that level, not even like an assistant. Like maybe there's some, old players that come in and help, but never at that position. So I guess I want to know a little bit, like, do you feel like an obligation to help Indigenous students in your role right now? Or like, are there ways that you're already thinking about it? Does it not really come up? Like what's your plans, I guess, moving forward to do something like that?
So we had a couple groups from, I forget which community, come to SAIT last year. We actually had a couple groups come to U of C when I was there. I'm relatively busy, but if anybody reaches out to me, I pretty much always try to either go to their community or figure out a way for them to come to Calgary and train a little bit at whatever facility I'm at. But when young kids reach out to me, I try to set them on the best route they can if they want to play college, But yes, I do feel an obligation because I look at their situation maybe a little different than other coaches might. I'm not sure. I don't know if I can back that up, but I that's what I'm trying to do for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well,
man,
even
yeah.
Sorry, let me just point one more thing out. Like, it seems like the last couple of years I've gone to Sandy Lake. I don't think it's a reservation, but it's an Ojibwe community in Northern Ontario. And it's a nice collaboration, I feel, because I'm taking college players there now. And it's education for my players as well. It's education for the players in the community. And this year, I'm going to take a Brazilian player who's coming to SAIT, and he's actually Indigenous to the Amazon. Like there's Indigenous people around the world. You know that. You know what I'm saying? So he's an Amazonian. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be cool to show the youth wherever we go this year. Yo, you can do these things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think like in positions like that, it's always good to hear that and to know that there's people out there that are pushing the needle, because, we may get to the door, but we got to look behind us and make sure that other people are coming through the door with us. And I think that's really cool of you, man. And I'm really excited. I know we have a kind of a personal friendship with one of your coaches or your former players, Tyler Latula. And he talks very highly of you too, as well as he talked about when he went into that Indigenous community and what it meant to him being Tongan. And so it was just dope. I had to ask that question because I'm trying to hold all the coaches accountable, get you a starting 6 of Indigenous players one of these days, man. Hopefully, if they're good enough.
Well, consider this though. Like I agree with you. That would be awesome to see. But when you consider just the population, the Indigenous population versus the non-Indigenous population, it would be very difficult to have an entire starting 6 that were Indigenous. And that's just purely because of the numbers. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm not saying it can't happen. It would be amazing if it happened.
I know 6 right now.
Riz going to make this happen, man. And that would be amazing. If you got anybody, we're looking for players that say it always. So Riv, after the call, you want to hit me with the DM, you know what I'm saying?
Oh shit.
I'm pretty sure I can. I can't. I'll lose my job if I recruit you, but you're good at the game.
It is verbally known that I am not coming back to Olds College next year. It is verbally known that I don't know what I'm doing with my future. Yeah.
Okay.
I graduate from this program. But I mean, like, as far as the starting 6 goes, you have Thunder Sky and Ryzen, who you obviously seen play. Those guys are like amazing. The kids are just dummy with the ball. They can just do whatever they want with it. Like, even to the fact that I see you wanting to take a picture with Ryzen. I was like, that's dope as hell. Ryzen was geeking over that weekend, bro. He was like, Dallas Soonias took a picture with me. I'm like, bro, right? But yeah, and like there's 2 players, for example, they actually have a younger brother. His name's Husky. He's from Thunderchild. It's his first year. The kid's like 17. He touches like 11 feet already, and he just bangs balls, man. Like, that whole family is just gifted. We have our brother named Philip Sutherland, who actually asked if you own the Jordan 1 Obsidians. Philip's the greasiest setter ever, man.
I do own those.
Yeah, like he does on those, Phil. Like, Phil's hands are like disgusting. We actually played in a tournament in Morley against Jarvis. You know Jarvis, right? And a bunch of his ex-CIS players. And our little libero is Sean Netmaker, who's actually really close to us too. Kid's like amazing. It was 7 of us Indigenous players plus, the 7 of us. We had the libero. We took those guys to 5 sets, and we lost like 15-13. And like, that was some of the craziest volleyball we've ever played. And that was at a res tournament. It was like, we've never felt that even at a college game. You know what I mean? And like, just to have the whole, bro, you're like 5'9". Anyways, so no, that's just it's common. And like, just that atmosphere to have like all those Indigenous people just wanting to see good volleyball, because like, just like them being on a res. And like they play res ball, and like, sure, res ball is scrappy. You know that's not very structured, but like, you do have naturally talented people. Just for them to like see that high level of volleyball between like college and
I think I saw some footage.
Canada ex-CIS level athletes. Oh, did you?
I think I saw footage from this tournament you're talking about, and it looked super exciting. And you mentioned res ball. It's a different structure than college ball or international ball, but there is a definite structure to it. It's just very different than, I guess, what you would call high level orthodox structures.
Mm-hmm.
What I've seen at Indigenous tournaments is like, the structure of the team is put together to get the most out of it, obviously, like the most out of the team. So sometimes there's some very interesting plays happening, but they make sense. Watching like res tournaments, sometimes, man, I get so hyped. watching them. Like, it's so interesting. And they go to like 2 a.m. sometimes, like wild stuff. Like, and everybody's just enjoying the game. Like, and it's like, I love Resball.
For real, absolutely love Resball. Is Dallas Soonias ever going to hit up a volleyball tournament with the uncles, whether as a player or a coach? Because, yeah, like I said, like that starting 6, if we could give those guys a go, like by all means, you know what I mean? I'm sure we could definitely do a lot of work against college teams. And like, I'm just saying the offer's there. If you ever want to come hang out with me, Thunder Sky, Ryzen, Phil, Sean.
Damn,
Dawson,
he's really trying.
bro.
Man, I don't know what kind of coaching you can do at a res tournament, because the athletes know what they're going to do. You know what I mean? I could maybe do. I would love to. Let me know next time you're going to play somewhere and there's not a pandemic going on.
Yeah,
and I'll come.
Damn.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely around the Morley area too, like around this
That'd be
area.
awesome.
Damn. Ask for 500 and a room, Dallas.
500
Just for
and-
showing up.
See, that's I've got to get that chief and council vibes going. You know what I mean?
Hey, bro, are you ever gonna run for council, bro? You look ready to go already, man. You told the lies at the start, man. You got the charisma, you got the talk, bro.
Got the bod.
You got the bod, man.
Yeah,
you ever
it's
want to be in
coming.
leadership?
He has
This
a
is the
degree. He's
thing.
too overqualified.
No, absolutely not. I've thought about it. Like, I've often thought of what I could do at Red Pheasant. I had big plans. I still have like low key plans of doing a project there with renewable energy. But my thought is, if I was to ever run for office at Red Pheasant or Cape Croker, where my mother's from, Neoshingnigaming, I would come in with such an outsider mindset. And I'd come in and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. This is going to help everybody. But because I haven't lived on the res, I might cause more problems than I fix. It's a huge issue. If I come in thinking I know what I can do to help the res, that was the whole problem with residential school. People not from the community thinking they know what's going to help the people, and then just implementing it. And you saw what happened. Hopefully I wouldn't create the sort of issues that residential school caused, you know what I'm saying? But like, I still, like, I worry about that. I would want to help as much as I can, but who knows? Maybe I'd have city ideas that don't work. You know what I mean?
Well, but I mean, as long as the intention's good, though, you have to remember that good intention. And on top of that, it's like, the band election system is foreign to who we are as Indigenous people as well. This is a white man system that we are trying to maneuver, right? So like, what more? And like, I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but if you think like a white man, then what's going to happen? Oh, well, you're just going to be doing what the system wants you to do, right? And it's not like with these good intentions, with what you're going to do is going to hurt more than some of the crooked politics that go on in some First Nations. So, I mean, it's okay to feel that, and it's okay to have those doubts, but just know with good intention and I guess like a good foundation that you can definitely make a change, especially for something like some place like Red Pheasant First Nation.
You raise a good point. My father, who was from there, he was a lawyer, and I don't think he wanted to get into politics because my father, for better or for worse, was like the straightest shooter ever. Like, he got into tribal law, but he didn't want to get into politics because he was like, it's it can get a little convoluted. But that being said, if the time comes and if I ever want to see if I can help out some way, I guess that's the only way to go about it. Incredibly straight shooting, not in like how, as you guys mentioned before, how you might cut a kid from a team. The best way to do it is to just lay it out there with the facts, Anyways, if I ever got into chief and council, like if I ever got on council, that's kind of how I would try to do it.
Damn. Well, you can always book us too to do any and all speaking engagements, bro. We're into it.
I think I would need you guys as like my hype bros. You know what I'm saying? So like before I come out to give a speech, you guys come out and like hype the crowd real quick. You know, maybe do like a quick 5-minute set, just a couple tracks. You know, you got the DJ in the back, you guys on the mic, and then we bring me out. Like I don't know, what was the Last King of Africa? Is that no, the Last King of Ireland? Do you guys ever see that? It was Forrest Whitaker, and he just comes rushing out and then just starts screaming at the crowd. That's how I would. I think I would be like the finance minister or whatever.
Hey, that's hype. That's hype. All right, Dallas, bro, this has been mad fun. What we like to do here is we like to put you up on the screen. You can say whatever you need to say to the people watching. Then we'll come back and we'll give you some thanks. Yeah, just whatever message you think people need to hear, bro. Here you go.
Well, oh wait, okay. So I have to give a message all of a sudden. You guys got to I didn't get this in an email or nothing. Okay, the message to the people. Let me think. Oh man, there's literally so many messages. I have like. Okay. Okay, so I'm here because I was an athlete. I'm not anymore. But if there's any young athletes watching right now, we've never met, but understand that I'm proud of you for being an athlete, for trying to be an athlete, because we both know people your age, my age, who could have been athletes and chose not to be athletes and chose a different path that was maybe a little easier, maybe a little less scary. And they're kind of doing the same thing they were back then. But you're taking a chance on yourself to be an athlete and try to push yourself forward. That is something that is a way of breaking colonialism, trying to better yourself. And you're doing it through sport, kind of like I did. So I am very proud of you. So please understand that, okay?
Hey, hold up. Sorry, we left you incredibly long up there. Yeah, that was a little tough, man. You did the awkward smile and all. Hey, Mr. Dallas Soonias, thank you so much for doing this, bro. This was so dope, man. You got a hell of a mind. You're funny. You're charismatic. Next time, you got to come through. Or sorry, Frank Gypsums has to come through, and maybe we'll talk a little bit with.
Yeah, follow Frank Gypsum. Yo, you can follow him at Frank Gypsum on Instagram. Yo, just follow him or whatever. I'm trying to turn that into a show right now, so just follow the guy. It would help.
All right, there we go. Follow Frank Gypsums. Yeah, bro. Much love. Hi. Thank you for coming on, River. I'll let you send your thanks.
Man, I just want to say thanks. I look at you as the GOAT of volleyball, Indigenous. Nobody got to where you are yet, but you paved the way. You could walk with a bummy shoulder just so all the youth can run. And yeah, man, we're gonna see a lot more Indigenous youth where you were, and I just want you to know that's because of you. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show again. It means a lot. And when we get our studio out in Vancouver, you're more than welcome to come and kick it in person with us after this pandemic. We'll have some shoes in the background of the studio that we can all chill out with, and
maybe I'll donate some shoes. You know what I'm saying? If you guys get a studio out there, I got some pairs for you.
Bro, that's amazing.
My man.
Yes. And yeah, man.
Thank you. Next time I come on, it'll be to establish the platform that I'm running on for Chief and Council. So I appreciate you guys letting me use your platform,
Hey, there we go. Dallas 2026, let's say. Let's give you 5 years, man, and get your counselor body all ready to go, and you'll be fine.
Working on it.
Hey, there we go. Real. All right, we're gonna let you go, Dallas. Much love. Take care, man.
Jimmy Gwetch. Thanks, guys.
Hey. Boom. So that's the man. That was dope, man. What a great guest. What a great man's. I had a great time, bro. What do you got to close off with? Hey, cop some merch if you can. If the serve hits or the direct deposits are in and you're feeling a little frisky, cop a sweater, cop a some sweats, cop a hat from us. It would mean a lot to us, man. It goes directly back into the podcast so we can keep doing what we're doing and we don't have to go looking for crazy sponsors.
Which actually, talking about our sponsor.
Hey, yeah, we should give a quick shout out to our sponsor at Cleanest Way. Check them out on Facebook. They do furnace and duct cleaning in and around the Saskatchewan area. There's some great people. They're the people that you want to work with. We got nothing but love for them. Like I said, they help us kind of keep the lights on here and do what we do. So yeah, bro, I'm feeling good, bro. I'm feeling blessed. Everything's on the ups.
For real, bro, for real. And I think I got to get back going into Calgary soon here. My sister just had her baby, so.
Hey, let's go. Auntie River is in the building. Hey. Shout out little Denise Blackbird, man. All right. Well, thank you guys again for joining us, man. You guys don't know how much it means to us when you stick around, when you comment, when you like and share this video. We got a lot of love for everybody that supports us and listens to what we have to say. Sometimes it feels like there's nobody listening, but when you guys are commenting and you guys are sharing your stories and hyping up our guests and doing what you guys do, it means 100 for us, man. So thank you again. We'll see you guys soon. Make sure to wear a mask, throw on some hand sanitizer, and keep some sanitizer and keep some social distancing if you can, man. Be healthy. Because yeah, we're trying to get into res tourneys all summer. So that's the mood. All right. Much love, everybody.
Wash your arse.
Yeah, wash your arse too. That's a definite yes. All right. Take care, everybody. Peace.